Welcome to the show. This is No Interference with your hosts Westside, Big Sass, and Le Bull. We had the conference championships this past weekend. I think we had some predictions that came true and some that were absolutely horrible on my end. But at the same time, we had some incidents that led to those factors that I think a lot of people were mad about.
We're calling it incidents.
AKA Bengals fans. I guess we'll start with the first game, though. Philadelphia, best team in the NFC, hosting the San Francisco 49ers, which were riding a hot streak under Brock Purdy in that number one defense. I think we all predicted Philly to win. I didn't think it'd be that much of a blowout, but it was cool to see. I know, Trevor, you're probably super excited about that one.
Of course.
Just to know what that feels like would be great. But, yeah. We'll let you take the lead since it's your team and they dominated.
Yeah, I mean, the big storyline coming out of that game, aside from the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, was Brock Purdy getting injured. So, not only Brock Purdy getting injured, but Josh Johnson getting injured right after that. I feel like he was in the game for about 2.5 minutes. I'm a little biased. I'm always going to say that before I talk about the Eagles, but I think you guys will agree, and I think other people will agree. I don't think the game would have been that different if Purdy started. I think if Purdy starts, that gives the 49ers 10 more points. So give them 17 points for the game. I don't think they would have gotten much more just by, just because Josh Johnson was in the game doesn't mean the pass rush was better. Maybe they played tighter coverage at that point. They did report on the field when Josh Johnson came in that the Eagles said they weren't changing their defensive scheme or a strategy that they had gone into with Purdy. So that tells me the Eagles' D-line and offensive line dominated the game. And, outside of like superstar quarterbacks, Purdy's of the world aren't going to change the result of that game, in my opinion. It was unfortunate that it got to the point to where they had no quarterback and Purdy was out there in the second half and he couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards. Like, it was embarrassing, honestly. And I don't even think the Eagles were playing safety. Like, I think they had like the safeties come down into the box almost every play. They had the corners playing man. So not much you can do at that point. Eagles pretty much just ran the ball, the clock out in the second half. So overall, I'm happy. I mean, I think the Eagles showed why they're arguably the best roster in the NFL.
Yeah, we talked about it last week on the last pod, how Gannon's defense, his scheme has gotten some flack, but we thought his scheme was actually, with the talent they had, a really solid fit for the Niners. And granted, Purdy got his arm almost ripped off by Reddick. Don't block the second best pass rusher in the league statistically with the tight end. Like, shame on you.
Not even George Kittle, but like their backup.
Yeah. And then with I'll get to that in a minute. And then with Josh Johnson, I don't know the last time he's taken meaningful snaps in the NFL. I think the Niners, probably bad play calling at the end of the half. Like, just they went empty. Like, probably should have just ran the ball, killed the clock, go into half only down 7. He bobbles a snap. I think he takes his eye off the ball. Eagles pass rush gets right in his face. Ball's dropped. Eagles recover. And that's the same play that he got knocked out, I believe. But throughout the game, and I get it. Their quarterback was having issues through the whole game. But every time the Niners tried one of their misdirection plays and whatnot, Eagles are all over it. They were staying in their lanes. They had a lot of discipline, I thought. And if you look outside of a I mean, I'll give him credit. That touchdown run by Christian McCaffrey was beastly. I think he jumped over. What's your
He broke
safety?
4 tackles. It was Marcus Epps.
Yeah,
Slay had one of the most embarrassing tackle attempts I've ever seen, and then it was like
Gardner Johnson came up with the hit stick and he just ate it.
Yeah, it was a great run by him. And then other than that, George Kittle had a great one-on-one route on Bradbury. Outside of those 2 plays, the 49ers offense did nothing. And like you said earlier, I just feel like even if Purdy had been playing, like Purdy's not Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. He's having an amazing rookie year. He's not swinging the game that much, I don't think. And
listing the old school quarterbacks.
Oh, they're the ones that have done
it. Listen, new school.
Am I going to compare him to Patty Mahomes?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Why not?
Joe Burrow had. I love Joe Burrow, but I'm not crowning him just yet. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks have.
If you want to crown their ass, crown their ass.
But my last point was, I've gotten this mindset more so the last couple of years where, like, all the Niners fans are going, "Oh, we didn't have a quarterback." As soon as you start playing the what if game, like, you just go down the rabbit hole. Because I could easily say, okay, what if Purdy didn't get hurt? What if Jalen Hurts was actually accurate on his deep balls? The Eagles' passing game really was not that great, and they still ran the ball down the number 1 run defense's throat. And Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey were playing out of their mind, and they completely negated Nick Bosa. Other than he's a great defensive end, so he read the read perfect. But other than that, he kind of wasn't a factor.
Yeah, this is a pretty funny statistic. It's a little kind of a trick question here, but do you know who would have been the leading fantasy scorer for the 3 starting quarterbacks on San Fran?
Like all fantasy points out of all the quarterbacks? Garoppolo?
For all the quarterbacks that started in this game.
Debo?
For all the quarterbacks who took a snap, who was the leading
this season?
Who was the leading point?
Debo?
McCaffrey. Mostly because, I think the fantasy points is mostly for his long run, but Josh Johnson had 2 points and Brock Purdy had negative 0.08 points. Not that fantasy matters anymore. I just thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And McCaffrey was 0 for 1. Oh, that throw by McCaffrey, I don't know how that was an intentional grounding.
Yeah, I don't. As soon as I saw it, I was like,
out of the pocket.
Grounding. I think they determined he was out of the pocket, like, because you only have to, like, I think they thought that they ruled that he broke it, and then
I think it's similar to the line of scrimmage. I think it's similar with the line of scrimmage, where as long as like a pinky toe, like finger or toenail is like behind the line of scrimmage, your whole body can be passed to throw the ball. Yeah. But to your point, with the what if games, I mean, you're right. Jalen Hurts was inaccurate with his deep balls, and kind of inaccurate all day compared to the rest of the year. He was short on a few, low on a few throws that Kenny Gainwell
on that sideline would have been like a 90-yard touchdown, probably.
Yeah, but Gainwell, A.J. Brown made some good catches. Devontae Smith, that was the one that everybody was pointing to in the beginning of the game.
I still say the Devontae Smith one, like 49ers fans again say, well, we got robbed, and why didn't Kyle Shanahan review it? I don't think it was 100% going to get overturned if they challenged it. Like, yes, the ball bobbles. The ball bobbles, but he has a hand under it, so you could argue that, like, did it touch grass? Probably, but the rule is it's called a catch on the field. It's supposed to be indisputable evidence that it wasn't a catch. Probably 8 times out of 10, the refs review it and overturn it, but I don't think it was like 100%. Like, that was god awful.
It was a guaranteed, like automatic challenge. Like, exactly, I agree. they played it right though. Get to the line of scrimmage fast.
Yeah, the
But
Eagles.
so he had time to challenge it if he wanted to.
I mean, the Eagles ran that perfectly. Devontae Smith threw up his signal, and the Eagles rushed to the line, hiked the play. There was very little time for the Niners staff upstairs to go down to Shanahan, and Shanahan's a big analytics guy. He probably doesn't want to burn a timeout and a flag in the first drive of the game. So I mean, I think he got like thrown on the bus by some of like the football coverage people on the TV and radio. I don't think it was like. I think he had way worse stuff happen than that.
Well, some people were arguing with the new rule they put in this year, the when the refs can do it like a quick review. What's it called?
Oh, like the automatic. I don't remember what it's called.
Like they have like an NFL crew, I guess, watching the replays
in New York.
And, and they can do a God, I can't think of what it's called right now, but they can do like a quick review. But I think that's only like in that situation where it was called catch and bounce because he gave that signal.
Unless you saw the one very specific replay in slow motion, it looked like a catch. So
yeah, but this year the refs they do that where I don't know what the rule is because you've seen refs stop it looks like they kind of stop the game.
That rule is more so in place where after he makes that catch, the refs look at each other and they're like, "I'm not sure," and then they go to it real quick.
That was my thought. Usually, it's like if somebody calls something and then maybe another ref sees something, and that happens a lot. But the fact that it looked like one catch made the call and that was the call, and then Devontae Smith smartly getting up and throwing up the signal, that's just good coaching.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's hard to throw that on
Shanahan
that early in the game. Big play though. I mean, I think it was like the next drive. It was Purdy's fumble where he got injured. They called it an incompletion on the field, and Nick Sirianni, I think, had to like run out like 20 yards to get the challenge flag out there. So I don't know.
Oh, I did see a bunch of people online complaining that the refs blew the play dead, so there shouldn't have been it. It should have remained Niners ball.
That's not the rule.
And also, when there's a clear recovery like that, like usually the refs are going to give it to you. No return, but they're going to give you like that's big.
If there's a clear recovery, just because they blew the whistle dead because they thought it was incomplete. But if there's a clear recovery and they review it, that's a fumble. I've never not seen it be a recovery.
Yeah.
That was a heads up play by the veteran Linval Joseph. I pointed out right away. I was like, that's why you get guys like that.
My other takeaway, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the Bengals had a couple questionable calls, and people are like, "Oh, the refs screwed them." The Niners, what do they have? Like 12 penalties, and they just completely lost their composure. The Boston Scott face mask, the Jalen Hurts hit out of bounds, the play where Jimmy Ward just twirled AJ Brown around on the slant from the slot, like those are just blatant penalties that you just can't do that, especially when you know that the defense, like they had to win the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had 11 penalties for 81 yards, and most of them were in, I think, two or three of them on the same drive or third downs.
Roughing the punter.
Yeah, roughing the punter. Well, that's always a rough one. You had an argument for that one that I don't remember who the lineman was, but they pushed him into the.
Well, I'm pretty sure the pushing,
punter, but
like. Because there's running into the punter and roughing the punter. I think on running into the punter, they'll give you that one, but on roughing, they're like, no, like regardless, that's a penalty.
Yeah, I thought it was a little close too. So I mean, I don't think the refs had a bad game. Like some people were saying, the refs were bad all weekend. I thought it was the Bengals Chiefs game, like you said. We can go into that game now if you want, but the refs were bad in that game.
Well, real quick, I guess we'll get onto this later, so I'll save some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, if we want to go on to the Bengals game.
Yeah, a lot closer of a game. That was disappointing for Cincinnati fans, but it is what it is there. Kansas City moves on to their, third Super Bowl in 5 years?
Oh yeah, because we've had five. Patrick Mahomes has gone to 5 straight conference championships.
Mm-hmm.
Every year he started, right?
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, I think I picked the Bengals, but didn't work out. I had that crucial roughing the passer, or unnecessary roughness. The player, I can't
Yeah.
remember his name, blew his knee out in the same play. Definitely, I mean, he was 2 steps out, almost 2 steps out of bounds. It's the right call, but I think a lot of people are complaining they weren't consistent with that call all game. Um, for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that was
Either way,
Joseph Osai.
Osai, yeah, blew his knee out. So I'm crying
Yeah,
there at the end of the game.
I mean, you feel for him, and it was close, but it's just the way the game is. Like against Patrick Mahomes, like it was close, but he clearly like Mahomes was running out of bounds. Like you didn't even have to put your hands on him. And I
It would
always
have been
say
short of a first down.
I think it was the fact that he was chasing him from behind. I think if they were running head on and a similar contact is made, it's not called. But the fact that he's chasing him, so it's a little more deliberate.
Their feet also got tangled.
Yeah, if I was the ref, I'm probably not throwing a flag.
It was definitely you have to.
But no, I'm saying I think it was the right call. Like if I was in this situation, but I also
that ref would not have made it
the
out of Kansas City if they.
I had the liberty of seeing the play replayed
Fair
like 3
point.
times. So, but you just gotta be better situational awareness. I mean, look at the Chiefs; they got screwed. What was it 4 years ago when they picked off Tom Brady to win the game, but their defensive end was lined up.
Say deep when the D Ford pulled
D
D
four was
Ford.
lined up
Yeah.
in the neutral zone. So
That was rough.
So I mean, comes around and goes around. Did you guys? Well, since we're talking about the Bengals, did you guys see the breaking news? Well, not breaking, but the news.
Did not.
Joe Mixon has an arrest warrant for apparently pulling a gun on someone and some lady and threatening her.
Oh wow! Surprise, surprise! The guy punched somebody in the face. That punched a girl in the face. McDonald's only 5 years ago was arrested for a gun, holding a gun in another woman's face.
Yeah, he has terrible takes after games, anyways. So let happen what happens.
Talent, all that talent for just to go blow it all away.
One thing that kind of surprised me this game, you look at the quarterback numbers. Burrow's 26 of 40. 26 of 41 to be exact. Mahomes is 29 of 43. Burrow threw for 270, 6.6 yards an attempt. Mahomes 320 at 7.6 yards an attempt. But Joe Burrow had those 2 interceptions, took the 5 sacks, but we're used to him playing through the pressure. But I feel like those interceptions were like bad interceptions. Like the was it the second one where like the receiver was T. Higgins, I think was double covered. Like I know you're trying to fit it in there, but he's double coverage in the corner. One corner plays the ball, tips it, and the other corner or the safety, catches the tip. That might have been the worst game I've seen Joe Burrow play since he's been in the NFL. Which goes to show how good he's been too.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I haven't seen all of his games, so I couldn't make that determination. But the two interceptions, based off my memory, were both fairly rough, ill-advised throws. Nothing like a deflection or anything. He made a couple plays down the stretch, but the Chiefs made a few more. Chris Jones has been talked about a lot this week for his dominating performance. He had no sacks in his playoff career prior to that game,
which is shocking.
Yeah,
very shocking.
And he had 2, and one that essentially ended Joe Burrow's season because they didn't get back on the field. And I think it was around 2 minutes left and third down, and I think they had Chris Jones on the edge, and he just got right by the
Yeah, they were
tackle.
They're moving Chris Jones over their right tackle, I think, on a lot of third down, obvious pass situations, and Chris Jones just was stealing his lunch money all day.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals O-line and D-line shined against the Bills, which was surprising, and that's what won them the game, essentially, outside of their normal playmakers. But in this game, Joe Burrow was getting pressured and sacked. It was a very Bengalish game, like similar to last year. They weren't perfect, but they have the ability with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to make those great plays downfield, and you saw it. Like, that's mostly what happened. T. Higgins had a jump ball in the end zone for a touchdown. Jamar Chase had that ridiculous double coverage catch that was just a jump ball. That was like 3rd and long or 4th down or something.
I think it was. Oh no, it was like 3rd and 15, wasn't it?
It was something, and they ended up scoring on that drive. So they're not a perfect team. No team's perfect.
I blame the Burrowhead comments.
Not true. The Burrowhead.
Burrowheads.
Oh.
All the trash they were talking.
Yeah, the Bengals
Bulletin board material.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you're playing an Andy Reid team, like, don't expect to win in the trenches because, for the most part of his career, Andy Reid's team's always going to have solid O-line and D-line play. And you just look at one of the big stats, I think, Joe Mixon on the ground, 8 carries for 19 yards. His long was of 7. Samaje Perine, 5 carries, 22 yards, long of 7. Joe Burrow is actually their leading rusher, 4 carries for 30 yards, and he did get that one long, 14, 15-yard run to convert a first down. But other than that, the Bengals were being forced to pass the ball. And if you want, you could say the Chiefs' defense isn't that great, but they can get after a quarterback. I think they were 3rd in the league in sacks.
I think they were 2nd.
They might have been 2nd.
55, but they're still.
I thought the Cowboys were 2nd.
They might be, but they were still way behind the Eagles. But I mean, the Chiefs didn't even run the ball that well.
Yeah, but you kind of expect that with them.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Andy Reid's so good. You can't run the ball. You just don't run the ball, and you can still put down 30 points. Pacheco's a problem, though. He's going to be a good player. And the boy can dance. Didn't know if y'all saw that.
I think I saw it. I was drawing a blank. Yeah, Pacheco, he's not like. I mean, he's had good games. I feel like Pacheco just like he comes up when the Chiefs need him, like, and they need a big run or a big play. Like it seems like the times where he does break a couple tackles and get that first down, that tough first down conversion. It's always when the Chiefs really need it.
Yeah, I mean, he's fast, and I don't know how big he is off the top of my head, but he's hard. He seems like he's hard to tackle. And he looks pretty like rock solid, if that's the right way to say that.
Yeah, I think he's listed as like 5'10", 220.
I mean, that's pretty stout. And I mean, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes had a really good game. He was hobbling. That touchdown throw to
Scouting.
Val Scaling was sick. That was like 30 yards on the rope. He was falling into the end zone, put it right on his chest. So,
I think the biggest thing with Mahomes that I was a little surprised with the Bengals, like, I know he's playing on a bum ankle, but I feel like the Bengals were still allowing him to like escape the pocket and extend plays. And if you look back at teams that have given Mahomes trouble, I feel like you have to play like you have to have really exceptional D-line play, but you keep him in the pocket, you get pressure while keeping him in the pocket. Because if the pressure while he's on the run doesn't even feel it. So you got to play great contain and also be able to have one guy get through. I feel like the Bengals were just struggling to keep him more statuesque. Where if you let him run and extend plays, his arm, he has a great arm. It's accurate. He has um, power too, and that's why that one Kelsey little hitch rollout so good, because Mahomes buys time, rolls out, Kelsey figures out left or right which way is open, turns it, and Mahomes just guns it to him, and it's nearly impossible to cover that route.
Yeah, he's probably the best in the league at finding these soft spots in the D. So
Kelsey is second
Dangerous
all time in third all time in playoff receiving yards. If he has a monster Super Bowl, he'll pass Julian Edelman.
it's impressive.
Yeah,
I didn't know Julian Edelman was that high.
I'm pretty sure it's Julian. And Jerry Rice is one. I'm pretty sure it's Edelman's two.
It's a good little stat right there.
Yep.
So we got a Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl.
Just like we predicted.
I had the Bills and the Bengals, so it was my third choice.
I had Bills.
But I did have the Eagles.
I had Bills.
Well,
Eagles.
in the beginning of the year,
Eagles, yeah.
in the beginning of the year, Taylor's prediction was Bills Eagles. So major credit to you before the season to pick the Eagles. I picked Bills Rams.
I think I said Chargers Bucks.
Yeah. I said the Rams were the defending Super Bowl champions, so I was defaulting to them.
That was way too early predictions here now.
In our
Yeah,
defense,
before
if
the
you go
season
back,
started.
if you go back and look at our preseason predictions, we were on the Eagles being good.
Oh yeah, we had
We
the Eagles
might-
winning. I think
We might have picked their schedule perfectly for wins and losses, like to the
we did.
game.
100%. We had the Eagles losing to Washington the second game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that was their first loss we picked because we
And
had
the
them splitting that.
Cowboys.
And I think we had them losing to the Cowboys on Christmas.
Now, if it's the Saints
Maybe.
too, that's just bingo.
But the Saints pick we did not.
Okay, I think we
No.
maybe had them at 15-2, so we could have been wrong.
Either way. I think
Still
we-
impressive.
a lot of
still
stuff we
pretty
predicted
good.
came true, and then some didn't. That's how it goes. It's a
They
any
said we
given
were
Sunday type
madmen.
of league.
Hey man, Chiefs are in. Chiefs are in Super Bowl, but the Eagles are in Super Bowl. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Second
We're
Super
happy
Bowl
for
in
you.
5 years, baby.
Somewhat. Bastards. I was
I
rooting
just
for the
hope-
first
I just
time.
hope
I'm
we
rooting
don't
for
have
this
to do it-
time.
I hope we don't have to do it the same recipe to always get to the Super Bowl. You get to the Super Bowl, your team falls apart, you get back in 5 years.
No, I think this team is more consistent. Even if Carson Wentz came back that next year, I don't think your team would have fell apart if he came back the same way he did. Off that injury.
Yeah, I mean, if maybe he wouldn't have won a Super Bowl, who knows? But Jalen Hurts is in line for a big payday. And we have like 8 players on defense that are free agents.
You're gonna lose Hargrave.
You don't know shit.
You're gonna lose. Is Sweat a free agent?
How do you know we're gonna lose? No, Sweat's signed.
Because you're gonna pay Hurts, and then you're not gonna be able to pay Hargrave. He's gonna get big money on free agency.
We got Hargrave. We got Brad. Okay, you're right.
Bradbury's
probably.
gone.
They
Come to
have
Washington.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a free agent. Bradbury's a free agent. Hargrave's a free agent.
Probably signed Gardner Johnson.
T.J. Edwards is a free agent. I think we should be able to. T.J. Edwards is really good, but he doesn't get the respect.
He reminds me of David
None of
Long.
them really do.
TJ Edwards reminds me of David Long on the Titans. Very solid in tackling and in coverage, but because of where they play, the position and the team they play for, they just not get a ton of recognition. Edwards has gotten a little more being on the Super Bowl team.
I like Hargrave, but the Eagles put so much emphasis on the lines in the draft. I think they have Jordan Davis, and I think they'll draft another one. And they have Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Milton Williams. Just to cap this off and not make it an Eagle show, C.J. Gardner-Johnson can play
Or an
slot
off-season
and
show.
safety. So
Yeah, I
that's it. We're
would
done.
tag him if you can't extend
He played
him.
slot a lot in New Orleans before you guys traded for him.
While we're on
Yeah,
the
he's played
Eagles,
like
I did not realize how much trash talk Brandon Graham did until this season.
He's always
He was
like
mic'd
that.
up pregame at the coin flip. He's like, "Hey, 72, we're gonna be running at you all day, so get ready." And he's like, "Oh," and the quarterback, I can't remember what quarterback. He's like, whichever quarterback, he's like, "Oh, you better be ready." He's like, "I'm gonna be in your face all day." And then there was like a receiver. He's like, "You ain't getting no catches today, so just don't even bother." And like Fletcher Cox was like hyping him up, but also like, all right. And Brandon Graham was like, "No, I'm going.
Go back like
Went rogue.
years. Go back years of like mic'd up, and you'll see him and Fletcher Cox doing like it's like the same thing. Brandon Graham's always talking a lot, and Fletcher Cox does too, but he's more like, all right, that's it.
It was like the video I saw was like friggin' 8 Mile, and he's just going down the sideline frying every single play.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Office. When boom, roasted. Boom, roasted. Boom, roasted. All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get to some of the news that happened this week. We had some coaching hires. We got some head coaching hires. We got some coordinator hires. Start with the big ones. Or we'll start with the small ones. I guess coordinators aren't that small, but when it comes to the importance of a team.
We can start with coordinators.
All right, so for some of the coordinators, I think the only one that really sticks out, like a lot, would be Kellen Moore to the Chargers. For me,
But he wasn't even free
few.
for 24 hours.
Yeah, literally, it was like what the game was like. It was over, and then next day he's hired.
Sunday he was released.
I have
Monday
no interest.
evening.
No interest. Justin Herbert needs
That's
to
what
get
I mean.
out of there.
Yeah, I think Herbert needs to go to a different team as well.
I don't
Well,
think
the Chargers
Kellen
are
Moore was
cursed.
that great of a coordinator with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I definitely think he was overhyped with that, and then obviously Dak crumbled, did not help him whatsoever.
I don't hate Kellen Moore. I think he
I don't hate him either.
I think he does
he's
have
that great of a
some
coordinator.
Yeah, I think he does have like some like themes in his play calling style that like I see it and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty unique and I like that they do it. But then there's other times where, and it's so hard to say when you have a franchise quarterback like Dak and then Mike McCarthy, like how much control does he really have? And the Cowboys, as much as people want to like debate it, they typically are a fairly loaded offensive roster. But the Chargers, they got rid of Joe Judge. He was their scapegoat. So now the Chargers are bringing in Kellen Moore. And, if their offense struggles again, maybe he'll be another scapegoat. Or maybe they'll see that their Staley's not a good coach.
Steelers should be fired if they don't win a playoff. He should be fired anyways.
Yeah. Some other ones of note. We got Vic Fangio going to the Dolphins defensive coordinator.
That's good. He's a good defensive coordinator. He's been around the league for a while. He's
like
been
that a lot too.
Not a good head coach, but
I was about to say,
he's like a lesser Wade Phillips. Great defensive coordinator, not the best head coach in the world. He knows what he's doing. He can get your defense trained up.
Defensive consultant for the Eagles this year.
Vic Fangio?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He knows what he's
Gannon
doing.
has a very similar scheme.
Yeah. We had already talked about Bill O'Brien. We talked about him last pod because that already happened. We don't need to talk about that again. Nathaniel Hackett, former Broncos head coach of this year.
We talked about that one.
Let's ride. Did we? I forgot about that one.
Go on to the head coaches.
Yeah, go on to the head coaches.
Well, I was going to say, Taylor, when the Titans got a new general manager, I didn't see that one.
That's been done.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Just not important.
He was the 49ers director of
shots fired.
Player personnel.
All right, well, let's go to the biggest one, then, if we're going to head coaches, and just start with Sean Payton. First time I've seen, in my memory at least, a head coach actually getting traded for, not only just getting traded for, but
John
first
Gruden.
and second round pick.
John Gruden got traded from the Raiders to the Bucs.
The Bucs, yeah. See, I mean, I guess in my memory, we were in 2002, 3. I was 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. Don't remember that. But I do remember him winning a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers and a lot of the players on that team.
Would you give up a first-round pick for Sean Payton?
I don't know, man.
I know they have 2 second overalls, but, is Sean Payton, gonna change it that much.
I'm surprised the Broncos still have picks to give away.
Yeah. But they did it. They pulled the trigger. I guess they feel like he's the man that can help get this ride moving.
I think it tells me that they have a good roster. They want to win now. And to me, I could be completely wrong, but to me, it sort of reflects like Russell Wilson's attitude. Like they didn't want to bring in another newbie coach because like they brought in Hackett, and granted, I don't think Hackett's a great coach, but Russell Wilson, like you saw his issues developing the last few years in Seattle, and as soon as he goes to Broncos without much of a what's the word I'm thinking for?
Rapport.
Yeah, and it just really off the walls. Sean Payton
Yeah,
don't put up with that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, are they? I guess blaming their the entire failed season on Nathaniel Hackett? Like he's the only issue that was like, is that the only problem that the Broncos have? I think it's paying Russell Wilson all that money, and then with the play he has, I don't think he's gonna get too much better as the years go on. It's a lot of money they'll be out of.
They're stuck with him, so they have to figure it out. Sean Payton's a offensive guru. He's one of the quarterback whisperers in the league. They don't have to have a great offense. They just have to have a good offense, and they can probably make the playoffs with that defense. They have a young, talented defense, especially if they can just add another pass rusher. And then offensively, O-line's not bad. They have solid receiving core. Javonte Williams, hopefully with a full year to recover from his knee injury, can come back. And it's just fix Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Well, Sean Payton, I don't know. He wins. So he started his career off as a head coach, winning with New Orleans in 2006. Then they had a losing season and a 500 season. Then they had 4 seasons in a row over 10 wins. Then they had 3 7-9 seasons in a row. Then they had 4 seasons in a row over 10 wins, and then they were 9-8, and then he left for a year. So he's got 2 more years to suck before he gets good again.
The pattern.
With the way the trend's going.
Yep. I will also
roll with the trends on that one.
I'll also say the Saints, while he was their coach, seemed to always kind of be in rough cap situations, which I think hamstrung their full potential. They're really reliant on Drew Brees and having really good drafts. But if we come out next year and by the end of the season, Russell Wilson had another year similar to this season, the Russell Wilson trade is just a complete disaster.
It'll have to reflect him, Sean Payton too, right? Like, were you really a guru, or did you have Drew Brees your whole career?
Oh, that's 100% fair.
Like if Russell Wilson comes out and throws 30, 25 plus touchdowns, less than 10 picks, and they're scoring and winning again, all right.
It's just like my opinion with Mike Shanahan. Like after Elway, what really did he do?
Ended RG3's career.
Fleeced the Redskins for Champ Bailey.
Hey, Clint Portis was a great running back.
Oh, I love Clint Portis, but Champ Bailey's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Clint Portis, I don't know if he's going to make the Hall of Fame, but...
What other hires we got?
Well, one we talked about before, who probably deserved the head coaching job the most out of all the coordinators, DeMeco Ryans hired. It was former team he played for. He led middle linebacker for all those years. He's another new head coach.
I think it's cool he's going back to where he started. More so than anything, I think the biggest factor is going to be the staff he brings in. So there's not a good team. And if he comes in there like, I'm going to run the defense, I got it, I don't think he's going to be successful. I think if he says he's going to be the head coach, he's going to demand respect and leadership. He's going to get the whole roster turned around, change the whole outlook on the Texans. He has to bring in a very good staff. So I'll be very curious who the rest of their hirings are going to be.
I feel like when it's a common occurrence that here's the thing: he's been a coach since 2017, and it's been with San Francisco. He was a defensive quality control, and then he was inside linebackers coach for 3 years, defensive coordinator last year and this year. He hasn't been around anywhere. I feel like coaches a lot who have been coaching for a while and they've been on a few teams as coordinators or positional coaches. Once they finally get that opportunity to be a head coach, they either poach people from their team they came from, or they know people from other jobs on other teams and they bring them over. Not saying you can't make relationships on other teams as a coach, but I'm just curious who I would if I was him, I would want, similar to what you were saying or along the same lines I think you were saying, Taylor, that I would want him to have like maybe a veteran offensive coordinator similar to like what Doug Peterson did with Jim Schwartz. He pretty much it was like Doug Peterson was the head coach, but Jim Schwartz was kind of like the head coach of the defense.
Pretty sure Jim Schwartz just got hired too.
Yes, he did.
Defensive coordinator.
Team. Yeah, after a few years off.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he's been on the Titans. He's been on the Titans.
But I like DeMeco Ryans. I loved him as an Eagle. He was one of the better linebackers we had for a while. And it sounds like he's respected around the league. So I hope he's successful. Yeah. It's just a tall task. Houston sucks.
Yeah, I mean, think about it though. He's a first-year head coach. He's going to a team that everybody knows it's a rebuild. I mean, he should get more slack since he is a first. He's not, how Lovie Smith has been a head coach before, even still on a shitty team. But he should be able to get a couple years to do what whatever he wants to do. They have the second pick overall in the draft this year, the 12th pick overall in the draft this year, 2 second-round picks. I mean, you get a quarterback in there. They got hopefully John Mechie, who they drafted last year, can come back from here. I know he was dealing with I think it was leukemia, but I think he's doing better.
Yeah, I think
they have some talent. They got Derek Stingley, right?
He's been all right, but yeah, hit on a quarterback and then bring in an offensive coordinator that can grow with your young quarterback. That's the key. Otherwise, unfortunately, I think he's.
Do you want a coordinator that can grow with him, or do you want like a veteran?
I want somebody proven.
Preferable.
Somebody proven that, especially if you're going after, they're going to take Bryce Young, that second pick overall. You want somebody that's going to take care of.
What was the Eagles quarterback coach when they won the Super Bowl with Foles? DeFlippo or whatever?
Yeah.
What happened to him? I liked him.
I don't remember.
Jim Schwartz got hired as the Browns defensive coordinator, by the way.
But yeah, just bring in someone that John DeFlippo. He is. Wait, what? Oh, he's coaching the USFL.
Yeah, I see that.
It said New Orleans, and I was like, New Orleans? And then it was like USFL and New Orleans Breakers. But yeah, I think it's really important because not that it's a little bit different, but look at the Jaguars last year with Urban Meyer. Trevor Lawrence did not look good at all. And this year with actual structured offense, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. Speaking of Urban Meyer, did you see he went on some podcast like this week and he was coming up with all these excuses for why it didn't work out with the Jags? Huh?
Who gave that man a mic?
Good
Did you
question.
see the memes of the NFL scripts?
Oh my god!
And one of them was
speaking of the Texans too.
One of
Arian
them was
Foster.
like when Urban Meyer read a script and he was like,
I saw one.
Look it up. It's so
I saw
funny.
one and it was like who was it? Was some player, some defensive player, that like I can't remember, but yeah, those were so funny. It was like when I got my script and saw I was tearing my ACL in week 2.
I was about to say, so Arian Foster, I guess while we're on it, might as well mention it real quick. Arian Foster was on part of my take, and I'm sure everybody saw. He said that the NFL is legit scripted like Hollywood or the WWF in his words, even though it's the E now. And then I can't remember the guy's name. He was like, "Oh, so how'd you feel when you saw the script of your career going down the drain?"
It was so funny.
But like, I mean, I don't think there's any truth to that whatsoever. I
No,
definitely
I-
would be
he's
more
just
likely to
trying to-
believe the referees being more of a occasional referee being a bad egg type of thing. Rigging games more than any. That's the only type of thing I would imagine.
Well,
These
it's
guys
like
they sweat and die for this shit. There's no way it's scripted like.
Yeah.
I've seen in the
movies.
past a few players come out and say it's scripted, but I'm just like, it would
That's
be
just retired
impossible.
players who want attention.
Yeah, it would be impossible to keep that under wraps.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen what Arian Foster has been doing since he, blew his knee out and all that.
He
But
has
he
to
definitely went
show
to more of-
macrodosing.
Yeah, I was about to say. So I think he's probably just done a little too much peyote, and he needs to pimp it back some. He's like full blown like artist now. Like it's his Instagrams, all his art and yada yada yada. Hey, good for you, but
Yeah,
He was probably just being a troll. All
that's what I'm
honestly.
saying. Like, yeah, just don't take him seriously. But all right,
It
so
was
last
made
but
for funny memes though. It's pretty.
yeah,
Good. I'm fine with it.
last but not least, Frank Reich.
we covered
the
that, didn't
Panthers.
we?
Yeah, but I just want to mention he's another team, former player,
You just want to mention that. Fucked up.
going back to his old teams. Pretty cool because we were talking about DeMeco.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I think it's a good fit, and
I refuse to cover it again.
All right,
Let's
never
go full
mind.
coverage. I just
Book's
think it's cool.
closed.
We got three of the head coach hires so far used to play for their former teams, or putting that former teams used to play for their current teams. Pretty nifty. Nifty grifty. Alrighty. So that's pretty much all the hires I think worth talking about. Same time last year, before the podcast aired, we were talking about this similar topic that we're about to talk about right now. Tom Brady retired from the NFL. Last year, I called bullshit. It was bullshit. This year, I don't think so. I think he said for good this time, and I don't think he wants to have his name associated with Brett Favre too much. But being another guy that comes out of retirement over and over again, bounce around different teams, I think he's done. But it's unfortunate. The last loss of his career came to the Dallas Cowboys. I puke.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's. Yeah, I believe when he says he's retired for good, that's what it sounds like. Maybe give it till like March, because I think he was only retired for a month last year to officially know. But the way his video seemed sincere in what he felt, and I think it's the right decision. He's already signed a contract with Fox, I believe, for when he did retire.
I heard he's not doing it right away though.
He might do it next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah. Some people are like, "Oh, he's gonna be doing it in the Super Bowl now." Like, no, he's not gonna just jump right into the Super Bowl, guy.
Yeah.
Like,
No. So, I mean, I like that. I think he'd be a good commentator. I like it when these big time players or quarterbacks, it gives you a different perspective. If they're
Agreed.
good at it, if they suck at it. No.
Agreed. I do love watching Eli and Payton go at it on Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
And then Tony Romo killing it in the announcer booth.
Sometimes Tony Romo loses it, but I don't know. It's a little bit of charm. It's not robotic commentators like Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, he goes down the rabbit hole a little too much of the actual ins and outs of football, but he's usually pretty spot on when he somebody asks him hey, what do you think's gonna happen next? He literally predicts almost every motion and everything, every coverage, everything. He's like, this is what's gonna happen. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
He caught some flack for the Cincinnati Chiefs game.
That
because it wasn't his best, which I
don't even remember.
He had a few moments.
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about is stupid.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad, but I was watching it. I think he had a few moments where he was, running along and getting lost in his own thoughts.
Lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But back to Tom Brady and his real career. I was gonna say if we want to say our like biggest memories of Tom Brady.
so the oldest memory, well, actually, yeah. If I go as far back as I can go, the ones that really like I vividly remember. I remember Bernard Pollard blowing out his knee.
Yeah, I remember that.
But then the first one that really sticks in my head, and it's not even really him. It's the first loss to the Giants in the Super Bowl. I just vividly remember us watching it, and when the Giants, before the Giants drive to take the lead at the end of the game, our mom came out and she was like, Patriots are winning another Super Bowl. And we were like, the game's not even over yet. And then like the David Tyree catch was literally like 8 seconds later.
Oh, it was so funny. I remember we were both like, oh my God.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think that's probably my earliest memory too.
Which is funny because he already had 3 Super Bowls by that point.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember. I was so young. I was for sure an Eagles an Eagles fan. Their 2004 season, but I was so young then I didn't watch every single game or obsessed with it like I am now. It's just I knew I was an Eagles fan. But I do remember that losing that Super Bowl. What other memories?
You know what?
My first memory was my best memory of Tom Brady.
So my first was the Rams Patriots Super Bowl. I was rooting for the Rams because I remember I'd seen, I don't remember all of it, but I had watched them when the Rams had won the Super Bowl in 2000 or 99, whatever it was. I think it was 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Because Ravens were 2000, 2001. Yeah. And I remember rooting for the Rams again to beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. I didn't know who Tom Brady really was. Didn't know about the whole Bledsoe and him taking over and all that stuff. But just he was the Patriots quarterback, and I didn't want the Patriots to win.
Also,
yeah, I mean, you look at it. Good.
I think it was his 2009 season. I feel like I could be wrong, and I know he's had great statistical years, but I feel like watching him in 2009, I feel like he was just like on another level. Like his passes were just.
Was that the Randy Moss? The Randy Moss.
That wasn't the record. That wasn't the record-setting year.
Because that was my favorite watching Brady, was when he was Randy Moss.
That was when the Patriots Rex Ryan Jets rivalry started kicking off, and
you're talking about 2009.
Yeah,
and
I feel like
the record-setting year was 2007,
and 2008 he
and then
out.
The year after that is when Tony Pollard blew out his knee.
Bernard Pollard.
Pollard. Was he on the Chiefs? I thought it was Tom Bahali on the Chiefs that did it.
No, Bernard Pollard started on the Chiefs. He got cut after 2 years.
Oh, so it was the Chiefs though. Okay,
yeah.
It was still the Chiefs. Okay.
Then he went to the Texans. Then he went to the Ravens and the Titans.
And that's what started the Tom Brady rule. Whatever.
You can't go from the ground to dive into a player's knees.
Yeah, but in 2000, from 2007, and then he was hurt in 2008. But like 2007 to like after, like that's really when like he started popping off like statistically. Like before that, the Patriots were winning, but he never threw over 30 touchdowns, and their defense was really good. I mean that was right around when I started watching football like religiously. It was 2007, 2008, I think. And that was like by then Tom Brady was like already like the best quarterback in the league and in that GOAT argument already. And then he, it's 2023 and he's just now retiring. It's crazy. And he was definitely my most hated player in the world
for a while
until the Eagles beat him in the Super Bowl. My whole opinion on him changed after that because it was somebody the Eagles could never beat. He lost to him the Super Bowl. He was always in the playoffs winning. So
I always had respect for his talent, But that Falcons comeback, the Super Bowl when he came back against the Falcons and he got his fifth ring. Sixth ring? Sixth ring.
Six.
It was the last one with the Patriots. It was the last one with the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
That Falcons
That's
Super
when I was like,
Bowl.
okay, this man is he's just unlike any other.
First time I turned a Super Bowl off.
Oh,
It's $20 to Chad because of that damn comeback.
I don't think we. Well, my favorite Super Bowl obviously was the one the Eagles won, but I will say, like, other than that one, like the Patriots had like some great Super Bowls. Like the Giants Patriots Super Bowl was a great Super Bowl.
Both of them were.
Both of them, yeah, both of them. The Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl was one of my favorite Super Bowls I've watched.
Which they shouldn't have won.
The last play of the game. The Falcons.
The Doug Baldwin catch leading up to that.
Yeah, Falcons. I'll never forget. I was watching the Falcons.
I left. I was like, this game's over, and I went to Chad's.
We were at my wife.
I remember I was at Chad's.
I was at Taylor's house at the time.
Yeah, I was like, this game's over, and we left. And then, like, someone was like, the Patriots are coming back. I was like, what?
I was the only person. I think I was the only person who was sitting on the couch watching the whole game. I watched the whole game through the blowout, and I was like, you know how you go into the game. So for me, I go into a game. I'm rooting against the Patriots. I want the Falcons to win, but they had a 28-3 lead, and then like I get this feeling of you want to root for the underdog to come back. So they started coming back, and I was just like, oh my god! Every time they scored a touchdown. So that game was crazy.
Yep. Especially when it comes to Super Bowls.
Tom Brady's, gave us a lot of moments, for sure.
Unlike Peyton Manning, who only had one exciting Super Bowl, and the other one was a freaking snoozer.
That was one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever watched.
Wait, didn't he go to 3? Didn't he lose one?
He lost 2 and won 1. He lost 1 with Indianapolis, 1.
He won 2 total, though. So he won 2 and lost 2.
Yeah.
Peyton.
He lost to the Saints,
2-2.
beat the Bears.
Saints and the Colts.
Lost to Seattle, and then beat the Panthers.
He beat the Bears first.
Yeah, it was Bears, Saints, Seahawks, Panthers.
Yeah, the Seahawks one was embarrassing.
Garbage. And the Seahawks unis they wore that game are ugly. Yeah,
I remember that when Peyton Manning looked like he was throwing ducks like constantly, even though he always had it kind of like not the tightest spiral. It just seemed like his passes were getting more and more airy.
Well,
and
the year after that was his like record-setting year. They lost in the divisional round to. They went to the Super Bowl his first year. The second year, they lost in the divisional round to the Ravens.
I still think his balls, even when they won the next year, you could see. It's like, remember he had that neck injury, and after the neck,
well, it wasn't until he had. I mean, he threw 55.
That was before the Broncos. It was going into the Broncos season. He had that neck surgery or whatever it was. Right?
Yes, but I still feel like you put up 55 touchdowns, you can throw the ball.
But you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about the way it looked. It just looked like every time
not
we go,
as crisp as it did earlier.
Yeah, it was just like always like. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
The last year with the Broncos was like way bad.
Yeah, but Demaryius Thomas, baby, rest in peace to that guy. That went off.
Yeah, he was good. Julius Thomas too, touchdown machine with
tight
the
end.
Broncos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Eric Decker.
Yep.
He's a great value. Jordan Nelson. So great value. Not great value, but
not a bad comp.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's enough talking about Brady. Everybody talks about him too much anyway. We all respect him.
Real quick. So, do we think he's really retired, or we think he's coming back?
Oh yeah, I think he's done.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of he's not going to want to. Like RJ said, I don't think it's something that will be brought up being like Brett Favre, but he doesn't even want to entertain that.
What if he
also, it looked like he was people were right. He did look like he didn't want Eli Manning said it. Whose show was he on? PMT's maybe. But he said once you were watching a game and the tackles look painful and you're like, ooh, wow, that looks like it hurt. You're done with football. And Tom Brady was playing in it, and it looked like he just didn't want to get hit, throwing the ball away and stuff.
Hypothetical situation. Let's say he is retired, he doesn't sign with a team, and it's something like what happened this year happens with the Niners, where the Niners have a great team, but they're going with Brock Purdy, and the Niners call him up week 17 and say, hey, you want to come try and win another Super Bowl real quick? and then like he only has to play like 5 games.
I'd give it 80-20. Like 80% chance he'll probably say no, but because that's like something that you can't really decide until it happens.
He wouldn't. Kyle Shanahan's playbook. I don't care if he's the GOAT. There's no way he'd be able to do that in the playoffs.
All right.
It could be any team. It isn't the Niners, but any team. I don't know.
Schefter said it today, though. I mean, he's saying, or not today. I don't know. I saw him talking on the TV. He's he's single now, and he still has his kids though, and his kids are on the East Coast, so he's not going to want to go play the season in the West Coast.
He's single and ready.
And it could be any team.
I think he's retired. Retired.
Yeah. I
now,
think
say the Buccaneers season didn't end the way it did.
I know if you love football that much, I get it. You're obsessed with football. Take the $300 million or whatever Fox is giving you and watch football every day.
Someone said that like how like 4 years ago or whatever, Brady was like, "I'm going to retire when I'm 45," and he is 45 now. So maybe he just said that. Maybe he said that was his personal goal: play till I'm 45 and walk away.
If the Buccaneers made it to the NFC Championship, Brady was slinging it. It might be a different story, because he might be feeling a whole different type of way. But they didn't. He played how he is. I don't know if he's got much in the tank. He's making the smart call. He doesn't want to save your body for after football.
It would have been great if he won with the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay, said "screw you, Belichick," and then just retired after that. I don't think the last 2 seasons, especially this one, tarnished Tom Brady at all. Anybody
led the league
says that's stupid.
And passing.
He made the playoffs. Didn't he make the playoffs all 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah, well, their division sucked this year.
Yeah, but Washington made the playoffs in 2020 on a shit record, but we were happy about it.
Yeah. Valid points.
Yeah. All right, well, have a good rest of your life, Brady. And good luck with Brady Brand.
It just disappears into the wind.
Yeah. Bye. All right, so we don't have a Pro Bowl this year. We got skills challenge and flag football, which I remember from, we were talking about the old days, watching these skill challenges they'd have anyway, and those are awesome. I think they were cooler than the actual Pro Bowl anyway. Just seeing, individual quarterbacks go at it, all that kind of stuff. We'll see how it goes. I don't think anybody's too upset the Pro Bowl's gone.
They had the accuracy competition, and Tyler Huntley was winning. And Derek Carr was the last quarterback to come out, and Derek Carr lit it up and won.
Was that tonight?
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Tyler Huntley won the skills?
No, he was winning. He was winning it, and then Derek Carr was the last to go, and Derek Carr destroyed everyone and won it. Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Huntley, Carr, and there was one other quarterback I can't remember.
That's hilarious. That was Derek Carr's like, who wants him now?
But say, free agent prime, ready to go.
Everyone in Vegas is like, ooh, because it's in Vegas this year.
Yeah. It's cool. We all knew the Pro Bowl was gone. We talked about that when we first heard the news of the Pro Bowl being an exodus. But
the Pro Bowl has been garbage for 10 plus years.
Yeah. And there's no incentive to try hard. You don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, the Pro Bowl was like a kid thing. Like, I cared about the after high school, I don't think I cared about the Pro Bowl anymore.
It was just cool seeing all the same, all the stars on the field together, and and playing on the same team.
Yeah.
Once they made
Sean Taylor has probably the best Pro Bowl highlight of all time, and stick a fork in it. Conversation's over.
I agree. That's what the thought came into my head when I was saying the last time the Pro Bowl was good. That Pro Bowl probably wasn't even good either, but that hit was good.
Damn punter didn't know what he was in for. He's like, it's the Pro Bowl. I didn't think he was going to deck it, man. But he actually walked up. You can tell he was kind of concussed, but he goes over and gives Sean a pat, or his handshake or something, and he's like, my leg.
I don't think he got up to get in his face for a second. He's like,
yeah, he got up pretty intense. I feel like that's how a lot of people get up when they're not, they got a huge hit was just laid, and they got to, not look. It's like their pride's in effect. They're like, I got to stand up quick and look tough.
I do like how they have Peyton Manning and Eli Manning being the head coaches of these two games, they're both very entertaining, good personalities for TV. So
Yeah,
that's
and
probably going to be like the highlight, especially if they need to have them mic'd up.
dude, I want some see them charge the field and kick dirt on each other's feet, the batters of the umpires.
Their Pro Bowl commercial is so funny when they're arguing, and then Peyton Manning is like, "Mom likes the AFC better,"
I didn't see it.
And then he picks up his phone and he goes, "Oh, hey, Mom," and then Eli's like, "Hey, Mom," and Peyton's like, "She doesn't want to talk to you," and he walks away and goes, "Yeah, Eli's wearing some tight pants for some reason."
I haven't seen that one, but that's good.
They're both good on TV, and the Manning cast is great.
Yeah, Payton's definitely the better actor, but Eli plays himself like the kind of a doofusy way. No, he's not a doofus, but he's just the way how he.
Their other one when they're
mannerisms and all
talking
that.
about it's just a football, a youth football commercial, and Peyton Manning's talking to the kids, and he's real old school, and it shows Eli sitting on the bench with a hoodie on and backwards hat. He's like, Peyton just doesn't really get us youths.
I really like the Manning cast too, but I would love it if they had they maybe got on a streaming network and they could be a little bit more, because they've had a few accidents where Eli Manning had flipped the birds, and then Peyton Manning
the F-bomb.
Cussing.
Can't hear the effing mic.
If they could just be on I don't know, streaming network and stream all the primetime games. They probably don't have time for that. But that'd be so cool.
They should just do their own red zone.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. They could go bounce around all the games. Whoever was in charge of the new Pro Bowl definitely did a good job. Because they knew that obviously the Monday night commentating was going good, and the fact that they're brothers and that one played in the NFC, one played in the AFC, it just lined up. The stars lined up perfectly.
The problem is now, it's not a it's a problem, and it's not a problem. But it seems like we had to get to the point where Tyler Huntley is in this Pro Bowl. I said it the other day. I don't really care. It's flag football. Tyler Huntley's fast and he can throw the ball around. Who cares what his stats were? The Pro Bowl's a joke. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl.
I honestly, my biggest gripe is that the Pro Bowl still is a accolade that goes towards your Hall of Fame potential. And
it's been they should literally.
It's been a joke for 10 years now.
Yeah, we definitely talked about how it's the All Pros and stuff should obviously go towards those.
The
but
worst
Pro Bowls
part
are
is
it's all biased fan voting.
Even the All Pros are getting messed up.
Yeah, there's only 2 All Pro teams. They need to go to the NBA and have 3 All Pro teams.
Especially with the amount of players actually, because the NBA has less players and they still have 3.
Yeah, and I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I mean it's flag football. I think that's a good point. It shouldn't. It's a joke. It shouldn't. And players still do get mad about it, but the voting's all weird and it's just stupid. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. But it seems like players put less value into it now too, and they just don't go. So is it cool to see some stars will go? Is it cool to see pro athletes just run around and do games anyways and flag football? Yeah, it's cool.
Also, the dumbest thing is typically the Super Bowl teams are the 2 most talented rosters. They typically have the most Pro Bowlers. Well, because you had to move the game before the Super Bowl, you lost all those players that people want to see.
Yeah, I mean, if it was flag still, you could probably do it. You could still do it before.
I'm not even
less injury.
I'm not even risking it.
Tyler, but they did it after. It'd be cool.
Tyreek Hill, I think, suggested doing some player suggested doing it in the middle of the season. We talked about it too. There's so much focus and there's just not enough time. You can't have a whole bye week in the middle of the season.
It's just not worth the risk.
I guess you could, but injuries happen in warm-ups in practice. If you get rid of you can get rid of the flag part and just make it easy, simple skills competitions. At that point, if an injury happens, it's just a freak accident.
If they want to do
just do skill competitions.
If they want to
and
do
also they could make it more enticing if it's skill competitions in the middle of the season, and they do what the MLB does, and the winner of that gets home field advantage. They're never going to do in the NFL because it's doing neutral sites.
So we definitely talked about when they first got rid of the Pro Bowl. I remember we brought up, I brought up that the skills challenges would be something everybody would be interested in looking into. and just having a bunch of different ones of those of all different types. Distance, accuracy.
I think it would be cool.
Certain radiuses for wide receivers.
Get rid of the Pro Bowl. Like, just get rid of it completely. Have in the middle season, everyone gets an extra week off. It's a built-in bye week. So now you have an extra bye week. And you have,
we talked about this.
I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You bring in the whole league, and you have competitions. Like, you can have an accuracy a competition on a Friday night with all 32 quarterbacks. Like, you would make money off that.
And another thing,
who throws the hardest?
Keep it as like celebrity or like celebrity like ex-players, coaches, because then the coaches in the NFL can use that extra time to prep. It'll probably make the second half of football a little bit better too. Players will get more rest. Coaches will have more time to prep for the second half of the season. I would not be opposed to that.
Especially if you plan on adding more games. I mean, they already did add an extra game, so you can add an extra bye week for these players. Injuries are getting worse and worse, it seems like, every year.
And like
get rid of the third preseason game, 2 preseason games to get you ready for the first half of the season, then a mid-year refresher with a little bit of fun to it.
And like I would go to that, like a long weekend, all-star weekend, like in Vegas. Like I would go to that, and again Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I would watch it in person every time.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should hire us. Marketing.
I think it would be a good idea, and just keep like a full game out of it. Just do skill competitions, and not even skill competitions. Do they do it already. Dodgeball.
So you can't forget dodgeball.
Like I don't know if they do it anymore, but back in the day, they used to be like the longest throw competition, which I love.
That's what. Yeah, it's the longest
throw.
So
the game,
you can put miles per hour.
Bucket challenges, throwing the ball in the trash can. Everybody did that back in the day.
The games this year are dodgeball, lightning round, which they did
duck, dip, dive,
for the lightning round. Like they were doing like balloon tosses and stuff. There's longest drive. I don't know what that actually is. Precision passing. They already did best catch.
Have them do.
They're doing kick tack toe with the kickers, and then they're doing a gauntlet.
Trust weight. Let's go.
And then they're doing like a move the chains.
And if they do it in Vegas or something, like get a convention and just have it in person and live stream them on huge screens, just playing Madden against each other.
People.
Yeah.
A lot of Madden tournament. Madden.
Yeah, they do. Madden gets them all to play against people when they're the other players that actually play Madden. They get them to go play against regular people for promotions.
This is probably the best take and idea this podcast has had.
Which we had technically came up with this idea a long time ago. It's been many moons.
It just seems like it makes a lot of sense right now. Like I think it's valid.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Anything else you guys want to discuss?
Taylor looks like he's Googling something.
I'm just looking at the Pro Bowl. They said that Fred Warner was the first NFC player to go on the jug machine for one of the competitions, and someone just said heartbreaking stuff.
I think that's it, though.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, well, I guess that does it for the day. Thank you, everybody who tunes in for watching. Give us a like, share, and a follow if you haven't already. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. This is West Side, Big Sass in the Pool.
See you later.
See ya. Adios.
No adios? All right.
Peace!